Welcome to Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks. I'm, of course, Dr. Kush, along with my barback Kyle. I'm not a real doctor, but I did spend almost 2 decades running some of LA's best bars. After years of teaching classes and training bartenders, I want to demystify the cocktail world for you. Let's try a few new things as I open up my bar to everybody. Belly up, chat, and let's have a drink. All right, everybody, welcome to Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks. You know the rest. I'm Dr. Kush. We are here today to continue our summer of punch, and it is going to be difficult for us to go any further in the story of punch without diving into some champagne. So get your champagne ready, whether you are using some Eau de Brut de la France 1748, or you are using the official champagne of Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks. Cooks. The okayest champagne there is. Cooks. California champagne. I just saw lanterns. Dang it. I thought I was on such a good roll here. There we go. We are making champagne punches today. We've only had to slightly adjust one of them in order to make the punch a punch. Before it was a fizz. Now it'll be a punch. But champagne plays a big, fat, thick, heavy role in the history of punches. In fact, most of the punches that Dave Wondrich writes about, a lot of the punches that Dave Wondrich writes about in his seminal series called Punch. I guess it's just a book. In his amazing book called Punch, the something of the flowing something, he writes about champagne punches. And I do think that these are important. Now, the problem with champagne punches usually is that you make one big one. You take a whole bottle and pour it out, and then they measure everything by bottles. Bottle, throw it in there. We do not have the budget for that. So instead, we are going to make what we call single serving punches, or sometimes we call them slings. That's what we're up to today. Give me 1 second. Oh, there we go. I got some allergies running around me, and we don't want those. So either way, first of all, let me remind you guys that if you do show up early, there's a VIP entrance. I think I saw Tiki Tom in here today. I don't want you guys sitting out in the cold anymore. So if you show up a little early, I will throw up the VIP entrance. You can see what the bar looks like as it's being set up. Usually I will talk to myself or sing a little song. Maybe I'll clean something. Sometimes I'll take a shot right before the show. Almost never, but sometimes. That is there. So show up early. Say hi to everybody. Let me say hello over here to our good friend, Moose. Moose is here. I think Moose is going to be kind of quiet today. He has, there's a whole situation going on. But Moose will be here. But he will be hushed. Let me say hello to DC Debbie Clark, the winner of the 2023 Kush-Tucky Derby, listening to some Future Islands tonight. Hello, Big 30 and beyond. Hopefully we get the Big 30 all in here. You guys are, if you're in here, you're the Big 30. Hopefully more of you come, though. Let me say hello to our good friends. Ooh, winners of the 2024 Kush-Tucky Derby. There is Stephanie Husband along with Michael. Now, I can never tell if Michael's the one talking. I always assume that we are talking to Stephanie. That might be just sort of like I assume all cats are girls, all dogs are boys, all elephants are boys, all alligators are boys, all giraffes are girls, obviously. Monkeys, there's a split. There's a fair bit of lady monkeys and dude monkeys. Let's see, what are some other ones I definitely have? Ball butterflies, dudes, all ladybugs, girls. Grasshoppers, boys. Snakes, girls. Sorry. Let's see, what else we got? Did I say elephants? Boys, right? Elephants are boys. Anyway, the same thing. I always just assume the husbands are Stephanie. That was a weird little tangent we went on. Here's Tiki Tom Hubbard. Cheers to you, Tiki Tom Hubbard. He is here and ready to go. Let me say a little hey-o to David Virtue. I believe he was subscriber 2000. It's a good one. Don't worry, guys. We're a rocket ship to the moon. 2032. We've had 32 subscribers since David joined our team. That's not fast enough to sustain, but pretty good anyway. Here's Scotty DuBois. One of DuBois is here. We will figure out if the other DuBois will show up. Let me say hello. More cocktails after Japanese whiskey tasting and large wine tasting this afternoon. Paul is going to be a lot of fun tonight, or we are going to lose Paul any second to the monster known as napping. We might lose Paul to naps. Let me say hello to the UF Mark, our resident gator. Let me say, yes, Tiki Tom was in the VIP lounge. You guys, there's a whole private chat over there too. If you don't want to say anything to the normal people when you're in the VIP chat, you can say it in the VIP chat, the private chat. Let me say hello to, let me say GE to Bootopia. Bootopia is here. We love when Bootopia shows up. That is always good news. Kyle Tender wants to know, what are oranges? Oh, I never thought about oranges. Oranges are girls. I think oranges are girls. Yeah, I think oranges are girls. Yeah, I would have done really well in a language where they gender everything. I feel like I would have done. English doesn't do that. I wish it did. I was pretty good at Spanish. I can usually guess. Anyway, and let me say hello real quick to Dougie G in the place to be, who is he's in Hollywood at the Lucky Tiki, then headed to the Chinese Theater. Scored tickets for the Dawn of Tiki premiere. Boy, that will be a ton of fun. Cannot wait to see that movie. Hopefully, we're going to chat with some of the producers and directors of that, see if we can't get some of them on the show so we can have a talk about the Dawn of Tiki. We're not talking Tiki today, though, folks. We are talking pre-Tiki. We are talking stuff that happened before Tiki because we are in the summer of Punch. It is Punch Summer, and in Punch Summer, we, of course, have to talk about punches. Now, a lot of these great punches that we will be seeing, that we have seen through and about history, have included some sort of champagne, usually as a bubbles. And usually we can consider that almost two different ingredients into our punch recipe. We can consider that, and I know this sounds crazy, some of the weak. All right. We're definitely going to put some ice in there. We're definitely going to put some water in there. But because champagne usually comes in between 11 and 16% alcohol or ABV, we can consider that sometimes weak. That's like a juice to some of the heavier drinking cultures in the world. Basically, you wake up, you have a little champagne. That's like us having orange juice. So we consider it weak. But I also, and this may be controversial of me, and I'm about to say something controversial. Hopefully, I will not be canceled. Carbonation adds bitterness. When you carbonate something, you are actually adding a flavor, not just bubbles. Sometimes when you have mineral water, you just taste the mineral. You taste the minerals in there, the whatever's making those little bubbles there. But when you are actually force carbonating something, you can add some bitterness to it. Now, I know that champagne is not force carbonated, but it is carbonated by adding yeasts, letting those little yeasts. So basically, they fart a little bit. That adds the alcohol. And then before the champagne is finished with the tooting, with the little yeast toots, they cork it up. And then those little, basically what they're doing is they're giving, anybody heard of a Dutch oven? It's not a nice thing to do to somebody that's in bed with you, but you do little toots and then you pull the blanket up over everybody's head. That's basically what they're doing to these poor champagnes, to these poor little yeasts inside the champagnes. These little yeast, they're farting, toot, 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 and then they slam a cork on top of it, and now they are Dutch ovening all of the yeasts. That is possibly the stupidest explanation ever for what champagne is, but it's technically true. And as Hermes Conrad would say, technically true is the best type of true. I think he said that. It's either him or don't Futurama. Okay, anyway, so we are going to be making these cocktails today. They are all going to have an element of champagne. We have switched one of them around, and that's the first one, just to make it into a punch. I do really enjoy when we can take a normal cocktail, a fizz or a sour or whatnot, and then just add an ingredient, make it a little bit rounder, and make it into a punch. That's, for some reason, that does it for me. That really, that's what gives my motor running. Vroom, 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 vroom. That's what I like going. So we're gonna start off with, as Bootopia says, a French 75. We're gonna start off with a cocktail called the French 75 Punch. The French 75 Punch. Now, what are we adding into this cocktail in order to make it a genuine punch? I will tell you. It's always going to be bitters. It's almost always going to be bitters. We're just going to add a touch, a touchel, a schmidge, a schmack, a schlep. We're just going to add a bit of bitters into this cocktail, and we are going to give it just a touch more complexity to make it into what we want, and what we want is a punch. So, let's get this going. We have our little tin shins here. We are, oh, little spoiler alert. We have some mint coming. We're going to start off with an amazing cocktail that was created, named after a gun. I can only think of one other cocktail named after a gun right now. If you give me a second, I might be able to do another one. But the Revolver, another great cocktail named after a gun. Maybe we'll do, when we're done with the Summer Punch, maybe we'll go back and do gun cocktails. But for today, we are doing this after the French 75, which is actually more after, I assume, I don't know anything about guns. I know very little about guns. Assume it's after the bullet. It's after a French 75 caliber gun or bullet. I've been making this drink only for about 400 years. I don't know exactly whether it's the gun or the bullet that gets the 75 caliber. But nonetheless, they said this thing kicks like a 75 caliber, like a 75 caliber. Can we just stop at caliber? It kicks like a 75 caliber. It's a big fat boy, and it will absolutely knock you over as it comes through. I think maybe we know the story about this cocktail. On every bar that I've ever helped open, I have had to outlaw this cocktail from my menus. People said, why don't we put that little French 75? That French 75 is such a cute little, oh, I love that French 75. Why don't we put that on the menu? It's so cute. I say, no. You know why? Because every time we have to throw out a belligerent, smaller stature person, usually like a smaller female human being, when she starts yelling at my gargantuan security guards, when that starts happening, I always look at the bill, and you know what's always on there? 4 or 5 French 75s. So I've had to stop doing this one only for private events. We only do this one for private events. But for you guys, why not? Let's start down here. Hopefully I brought some of this down here. Yeah, okay. You don't have to store your sugar cubes in a plastic bag, only if you don't want any kind of horrible rodent getting to them. We don't have rodents in the bar yet, but I think if we were to do this without adding any plastic bags, we might have rodents. We're going to take one of these guys. This is a sugar cube, a cube of sugar, and we're just going to add, you know what, we're done with that bottle right now. We're going to add a little bit of Angostura bitters to this sugar cube, okay? We're just going to add a little bit of Angostura bitters to the sugar cube. Normally, that is not what you would do for a French 75, but we are making a French 75 punch. I find it's best to get the right amount of Angostura bitters into a cocktail is to do it like this. You take your sugar cube, drop it in here, and then you pray to the camera gods that this camera's working. Oh, this camera's working. Oh, this camera is working. Okay, great. We're going to go down. Oh, dang. As I said it, it broke. I think it might have pulled a cord or something. Are you still in there? Let's check it again. Ah, Okay, we're going to fix that here in a second. But basically what we're going to do is we are going to just add enough. Put this here now. Let's find a thing to put it on. Oh, you know what we got? We normally don't do this with Post-it notes, but today we're going to have to. We're going to go ahead and throw our sugar cube right here on this Post-it note. And then we are going to bitter this sugar cube until it is completely saturated, but no more. So we're just going to go ahead and pour just a little bit of bitters right on here. Nice, easy drops. See how that starts to saturate this bitter? All the excess should fall right onto a napkin, or in our case, a sugar cube. Right there. Let's just give this a little spin so you guys can see sort of what I'm talking about. That is a fully bittered sugar cube. So now what we have is our little sweet and a little spice to make it all nice. Take that off. Let's do that again so we can get that on camera. That might look nice. Let's win our awards. We're just going to take this. We're going to pour that right in there. Perfect. And then we have this extra bitters. We don't want that, so we'll put that there. We have a little bit of sugar, so a little bit of sweet, and we have the spice to make this all nice already in there. We need to keep building. We are going to also add a little bit of some lemon, our old friend lemon. But before we cut this lemon in half, it's easier to get our garnish off of it while the lemon is still whole. If you don't want to waste any of the lemon, then don't. It's totally up to you. We're going to go ahead and start this garnish before we have sliced it. So we're going to take this guy. This is a channel knife. We're just going to get right in here, and we are going to slowly pull this. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do it right over this so that we get all those good oils. There we go. We're going to slowly pull this straight through, getting all of that lemon. Let's go right here. There we go. All of that lemon peel. If you can see it, all those lemon oils flowing out, flowing right into our tin there. We're going to put that off to the side. That will be our garnish for a little bit later. But for right now, we are now going to take the side of this. Dang it. We did not grab a cutting board. So we are going to be very careful. And we're going to slice our lemon right here down the middle. We're going to use the juice of half a lemon. How much lemon juice is that? Anywhere between half an ounce and 3/4 of an ounce. So every drink will be a little different. Every drink is like a thumbprint. It's just a little different. Go ahead and squeeze this guy in here. Oh, gosh, that went all over the place. Kyle, I'm sorry. Squeeze that. Looking real good. Now, this lemon is doing two things right now. Obviously, it is making our drink more sour, but it is also using that acid to start to dissolve this sugar cube. It's already starting to melt. I wish I could show you that, but alas, I cannot. Let's just see if we can fix this camera real quick. And if we cannot fix the camera real quick, then we will do something else. 1 second. Okay, we're going to go into settings. Nope, we're going to go into properties. 1 second. I know this is horribly boring. And then we're going to go back here. And then you guys, oh, good. The whole thing is stopped. Check, check. Why can I hear myself now? Is that echoing to anybody else? I'm gonna have to take my headphones out. Is that echoing to anybody else? It's echoing to me. That's terrifying. Kyle, let me know if it's echoing. I hear echoes. No? 1 second. Check, check. We're gonna do audio monitor, and we're not gonna listen to that. Check, check. Okay. I think we're better. Sorry, tried to fix it, couldn't fix it, and so now we're gonna go without it. Okay, sounds good to me. I echo. Uh-oh. Stephanie, husband echoes. Okay. Anyway, trust me, this is going in here. We need a little bit of simple syrup. Oh, I have simple syrup. I know I do. There it is. Orange top. Kyle just looked me dead in the eye and he went, He is odd. Anyway, I think that means sounds good. Anyway, what we got here right now is a little bit of simple syrup. This is the simplest of all syrups. We do 1-to-1 simple syrup here at this bar. If you want to do more than 1-to-1, that is up to you. We're going to go ahead and put in 1/2 ounce of some simple syrup. There we go. Looking real good there. Give that a little wipe. And we'll put our simple syrup away. We're also going to throw in just a touch of gin. How much is a touch? We're looking for about 1 ounce. We want about 1 ounce of gin. It seems like kind of a short cocktail. It is kind of a short cocktail because we are going to be adding our bubbles here in a minute. So we need 1 ounce of a London dry gin, or let me just say out loud, whatever gin you like. 1 ounce of that. All right, throw this up here. We're going to throw in all, oh no. Kyle, if you come back in here at any point, can you bring in my scooper? Throw a bunch of ice in here. A bunch of ice in here. Now, we are, of course, this is a champagne cocktail class. Why then do we not have any champagne in here? If you shake a cocktail with the champagne in here, you are going to make those farty yeasts incredibly farty. They will not know what to do with themselves. It's kind of like a tickling a baby that's got a lot of gas. All right? It's going to fart on you. That is what we're doing. If we start shaking up some champagne in something like this, we are going to get very farty yeasts. They will fart enough that the entire top of this thing will just come farting right off. We do not want that. So we're going to shake this without our farty yeasts in here. And then we are going to grab our glass. We are going to very, very carefully, incredibly carefully, don't overdo this. We're going to just sort of pour this guy right in here. There we go. Now, this is not the normal color of a French 75. Usually a French 75 is very much it looks like lemonade. Whatever color you think lemonade is, that's the color of a French 75 normally. But because we have made this a French 75 punch, it is going to have this pink hue. That is going to come from our Angostura bitters. Since we're doing all champagne cocktails tonight, I figured, why not? We will get the big bottle of Cook's. And we will open it. Could we have done this before the show started? We could have. Could have done a lot of show. We could have just made all the drinks before the show started. I could have had conversations to nobody before the show even started. Could have told you all about how elephants are girls and oranges are girls. Or sorry, elephants are boys and oranges are girls. Could have told you all about that stuff. But instead, we waited so you guys could watch this whole thing. We're going to go, let's put it on this one. I think this is slightly better. We're going to go ahead and twist this off. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Always 6 twists on a champagne cage. There is a patent on this thing. Every time somebody sells a bottle of champagne, somebody makes some money on that patent. Now, this is terrifying. I do not want to get anything on the bar. So I do have a bar. Do I have it? Let me just hold this real quick. There we go. I have a bar bin right here, just in case we decide that this champagne is going to pop. Now, I don't think it will. It is a warm champagne. Probably should have chilled it a little bit. Ooh, that feels like there's some pressure. Now, when we get a champagne thing going, when we try and open up a bottle of champagne, the point of doing a bottle of champagne is not to make this cork fly 1,000 miles away. If you want to open a bottle of champagne properly, you want to do it in the most boring way you can. It should just make a tiny little hiss. Here we go. Let's see if we can do it. Shh. Shut up, everybody. Shut up. Shh. There it is. I don't ever remember Anders Ericsson talking like this on his cocktail shows. No, I don't imagine Anders Ericsson ever talks about farting yeasts on his show. let me just say, I've never seen a live Anders Ericsson show, so I don't know whether or not he actually makes cocktails, whether he has somebody else make them for them. I think you guys know I do make my cocktails. Why? Because it's freaking live. How do I know? How do you guys know that? Because Debbie Clark just said, I heard the hiss. There was just a hiss. DC Debbie Clark said she heard the hiss. So this is real. This is a real thing. We're just going to pour a little bit of this in here. Obviously, if you want a less potent drink, that's up to you. Pour a little bit less champagne in here. We are going to be pouring this into a coupe with the nip right there. That's what we want. So just a nice, easy pour of some champagne right into your cocktail, nice and slow. Otherwise, those little farty yeasts will eat that sugar again, and nothing makes yeast fart quite like sugar. That makes them just toot away. Toot, 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 tootaloo. Throw this here. We're going to be using a lot more of that as the time comes. We beforehand prepped this floppy little thing, this ridiculous looking piece of noodle. This is just the lemon. All I want to do is give this a little spin around my finger, give it a little shape memory like this. All right. So let me push this out of the way. Give it a little shape memory around your finger, and then we're just going to pull it straight off of there, and we're going to give it one of these. It's like a ding ding, like you're trying to tell the bus driver to stop. Ding ding. Just pull that out. That should give it the ability to hold some of that loopy shape. We will then, let's go to this one. We will then drop this in here and just have the last little bit of this. Oh, the last little bit of this hanging out. There we go. So we have this guy right here. That little lemon loop in there is going to give us just a touch extra lemon in here. But really, it makes our drink look extra delicious. Not a French 75, a French 75 punch. All we had to do was add one ingredient into this cocktail. And what did we get? We went from a not punch, from a fizz into a punch. I have a feeling that this will be a more interesting cocktail. Anytime you're able to add a little bit of bitters, I say try it. I mean, honestly, before you dismantle a whole cocktail, I think it's important just to try adding a touch of some bitters. Sometimes people will start all the way over it with a cocktail. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna deconstruct this one. What if we add gelatin to it? And instead of having it be a drink, we have it be a meal. And then, at some point you're like, this is ridiculous. We could have just added a little bit of bitters to this, made it a whole new cocktail, called it a whole new thing, and we could have been in business. But now we have a Spinzall and a Searzall and one of those cloud machines, and this cocktail is costing us $5,000 a night. All we had to do was add bitters. Has that ever happened to me? Happened to me once. Just one time. It's a rough story. Here we go. The French 75 punch. Cheers. Holy geez Louise. I will drink 3 of these and I will fight a bouncer. I think that's important. I think it's important when you're drinking this cocktail. Drink 1 too many, then try and fight a bouncer. That is always what you do. 1 second. Yes, champagne hiss. I did hear Boutopia. It's supposed to sound like the satisfied woman, and then Debbie Clark has to the women you were with hiss. And I thought that was fun. That's a fun exchange. Thank you guys. That made me happy. Let's see. The proper way to open a champagne bottle is with a saber. That is certainly a way to open a champagne bottle. Is it the proper way to open a champagne bottle? I don't know. Okay, Kyle, come get this. If you could bring me my scoop, that would be great. If you can't bring me my scoop, that's all right. In the meanwhile, that is freaking good. That is just a good drink. Shawnee Panda Baker wants to know if the proper way to open up a champagne bottle is with a saber. Shawnee Panda Baker wants to know, does a lightsaber count? If you can open up a champagne bottle with a lightsaber, I think. Thank you, pal. Appreciate you. Put that there, and I will trade you for that. I don't imagine I will see this. Usually ends up being one of Kyle's favorite drinks. Yeah, just go ahead and give that a hold. Oh, I thought you were. I don't know what Kyle was trying. I thought he was trying to communicate with me. That's that. A very, very different style of this cocktail. We took it from a fizz into a punch using one ingredient, and we have added a whole new element to this. Now, earlier this week, we talked about a whole nother great cocktail. We talked about changing a boring cocktail, a no good, rotten scoundrel of a boring cocktail called the Moscow Mule, and we turned it into the Gin Mule, created by an amazing person, a bartender extraordinaire, Audrey Saunders. What do we have in store today? Another Audrey Saunders cocktail. The more, sometimes they say when you're holding a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. We are in the summer of punch, and I am seeing so many punch connectivities at this point. My brain is on fire from all these high-level ideas that we are having. I have seen so much good stuff coming out of Audrey Saunders, and I have a theory now why. I believe that Audrey Saunders has been making everything into punches for a long time. Now, this may sound like a crazy conspiracy. Audrey Saunders knows that a punch is delicious. It's been with us longer than the cocktail. So what she does is finds creative ways to take normal cocktails that people already like and turn them into punches. I say, you know what, Audrey, way to go. You go. You go, Audrey. A very simple way to make normal stuff absolutely taste more interesting. We are going to now make a cocktail that more or less takes one of the world's favorite cocktails of all time. All right, let's name a couple of them. We got the margarita. Everybody loves the margarita. We got the Negroni. Everybody loves the Negroni. Okay, Negroni not quite as much as the margarita. What's another one? We got the daiquiri. Everybody loves the daiquiri. Okay, what about this one? You ever heard of this one? The mojito. You ever heard of a drink called the mojito? I bet you have. I bet you have. I bet you remember the first time you ordered a mojito in a bar where a mojito was not on the menu and the bartender went like this. Remember that? I remember that. Anyway, she took this great drink and she turned it into not just a punch, but a champagne punch, baby. She took two great things, the champagne punch recipe or the formula, and added it to all the good stuff of mojito. She made a cocktail called the Old Cuban. Great cocktail, great name. Audrey Saunders. Way to go, Audrey. I don't want to be giving away all of Audrey's secrets at this point. I do believe, though, that a lot of her success in cocktail drinking can be brought right back to the fact that she makes punches. She takes that one a sour, one a sweet, or one a sour, two a sweet, three a strong, four a weak, and a little spice, make it all nice. And she just adds that to normal cocktails. And then suddenly she got classics on her hands. I love that. What I'm doing right here as I'm talking is I'm pulling off these little mint leaves. Earlier in the night, DC Debbie Clark gave me a little razzmatazz. Told me don't do that because, of course, anytime I touch mint, I murder mint. I'm the Paul Pock, I believe, or the Paul Pot of mint. I'm horrible with it. But this is chocolate mint that we're doing today. Don't worry about chocolate mint. Just find yourself some regular old mint. Don't worry about getting crazy with your different types of mint. We just need a normal type of mint. We're going to grab our very favorite, the incredible edible lime. Here, we're going to slice this off. We need about half an ounce of lime juice. So how many slices are we doing? Remember, we cut that first one off. We look for this. I think we're going to do about 2 slices of lime in this guy. There we go. We're going to squeeze this in. Right there. Now, normally I would suggest that you throw this lime in here, but not yet. Don't throw this lime in here yet for this. We are going to be adding, we're going to be messing with this for a little bit. So go ahead and throw in some lime juice. That lime juice is going to help pull out the chlorophyll. We're also going to be putting in some simple syrup. Where did I put it? Over here. Over here. Simple syrup. Just a touch of some simple syrup, about a half an ounce of simple syrup. Right there. Now, we're about to break a rule that I talk to you guys about all the time. All right. What am I always saying? Every time we grab one of these muddlers, I grab these big, heavy muddlers so that I can have a light touch. Usually when we muddle, let's get it here. Usually when we muddle, we want to grab it like this, a very light, dainty touch, not on this one. This one, we really want to go to town. On this one, we absolutely want all of this mint to explode. This drink should come out bright green. All right, so very bright green. So really get in there, and if you have to make this face, so this face right here, you have to make the face. Really go. I've put this drink on menus, and I have bartenders quit over it. This thing should take a little while. I'm going to hold it like this so that we can all see what's going on. I'm really getting in there, really breaking this up. Every little piece of mint in here should be broken and cracked, and absolutely should not look like mint when this thing's over. David Virtue, just in case anybody wondered what David Virtue calls his father-in-law, he calls him the old Cuban. I think that's pretty great. That's the old Cuban. Well, now you know, Davy Virtue, that he, of course, has a great drink named after him by Audrey Saunders. We are really just breaking this up, guys. I mean, honestly, if you have a claw at the end of one of your muddlers, that's what we want. You can see how this is really starting to turn nice and green. Obviously, it was a little green earlier from the mint, or from the lime, but now we are really just decimating this mint. All of this mint should be completely broken up. All of that mint flavoring should come out. This thing should start to really smell like it is. There we go. This thing should really smell like it is some toothpaste by the end of it. That's what we want. So we want this to be a nice, bright green syrup here, because we are going to now add an aged rum. Now, I didn't even think about which aged rum we wanted to put in here. You normally should do like a Cuban style aged rum. So I think we'll reach back here and grab our, you know what, let's just get rid of this bottle. I think it's time. Sometimes we keep bottles around just because they look pretty. This is our Flor de Caña 12-year. We're going to pour just a little bit of Flor de Caña 12-year in here. Any kind of aged rum. Bonus points if it's Cuban, obviously. This is the old Cuban. But if you don't have an aged Cuban rum, find another aged rum that you got in there. We want about an ounce, maybe an ounce and a half of some aged Cuban rum. We'll do here come the hiccups. We'll do an ounce and a half. There we go. Now that mint should absolutely be the thing that you are smelling in this cocktail at this point. If you are not smelling mint, it means you are dealing with allergies, or you did not muddle enough. Go ahead and throw in bunches of ice right there, and grab our shaker. And we're going to shake this thing. We're not worried about shaking this guy. We're going to give this a big fat shake. We want even more of that mint to break up. We put a lot of ice in here, so hopefully all that ice will help chill the drink without diluting the drink too much. And here we go. Ready? Big fat shake on the old Cuban. 1, 2, 3. Ah, oh, God. Got me. Didn't close it. We're going to put this around right here. The reason that old Kush tender, Kush doesn't usually use glasses, is because glass does not seal quite as well. I use tins, double-sided tins, because that always closes much better than what we call Boston shakers. These are Boston. When you got the glass, on one side and the other, the tin on the other. Call these Boston shakers. That is not the way to go for the most part. But for this particular drink, I wanted you guys to see how green everything got. So this here, it smells an awful lot like mint at this point. We're going to pour this one over new ice. I would normally suggest some crushed ice. That might make this go by a little better, but this is not a multi-ice bar. I get to choose one kind of ice before we start the show, and after that, that's kind of it. We're going to take this guy now. Obviously, because we have because we have pulverized, because we've pulverized so much mint in there, we're going to have little pieces of mint all over the place. So we are going to take our, we call this a secondary strainer or a double strainer, and we're going to strain the rest of that mint right out of here. And we should get this sort of greeny tint on our, go here. Should get this green tint on our rum cocktail a little bit. There we go. We're just going to give this some taps like that. All that tapping is doing is showing that we're being impatient, not letting that ice get through. This is what we saved from getting into this glass. All of that mint right there did not make it into the glass, which we obviously appreciate. And if we take a look at this cocktail, if you look real deep into its eyes, you will not see, give that a clean, win our awards. You will not see almost any pieces of mint. That is why the double strain of this cocktail, so important, so very important. Last little bit, sorry, second to last little bit, we're going to throw in, Kyle, when you know what, Kyle, never mind. Never you mind, Kyle. I'm just going to put all this stuff down here in this bus tub. That's what they're for anyway. It's literally bussing. We're going to go ahead and throw in just a little bit of California's champagne Cooks, the okayest champagne there is. Go ahead and pour in anywhere between 2 to 4 ounces, or you be the judge. All right, you judge it yourself. We're just going to go ahead and pour in some champagne right there. Obviously, like we always say, yeasts are little farters, and little farters fart on sugar. You know that fairy tale, right? It's an old children's story about yeast being farters and farters farting on sugar. If you don't remember it, look it up. All right. There we have our drink. Now, we do want to add just one more bit of decor on this. If you want to throw a little mint in this cocktail, I think that's great. But in order to really officially make this into a punch, we're going to be adding just a little bit of Angostura bitters in here. You can skip the Angostura bitters if you want. If you want the Angostura bitters to be through the whole cocktail, obviously put it in earlier. I like it just here on top. This is already a very minty cocktail, so throwing more mint on top as the garnish. Okay, that's completely up to you. But I like this look. We're going to put like 5 dashes of some Angostura bitters right here on top. So here we go. There we go. We should have kind of a cool 2-layer effect. That should give us what our good friend Butopia would call a floater. That right there is a floater. We have to do something with that. Right there. Okay. This right here is the cocktail. We're just going to drop this in here. Give this a quick little stir and get some of that Ango flitting through. It's also going to help with getting the champagne a little lower. But if you're looking for kind of a cool looking cocktail, you don't often see these cocktails with this green tint on here, a little bit of that Ango floating on top. We're in a good space. We're in a good space. You know what we'll do? I don't think I have a tall green one right now. We'll do a tall brown one. You do want to drink this one with a straw. Just trust me. This one's just a little bit better with a straw. Consider this to be kind of like it's a cobbler. You want that straw going in all the way down there at the bottom. Get your face real close to this as you're drinking it. You want that Angostura to hit you, but also that mint will find a way into your nasal cavities. You should have a good time. Here we go. Oh, boy. Well, I know I'm not seeing that cocktail either because that's going to be another Kyle favorite. Kyle brushes his teeth like 6 times a day, not because he cares about his dental health, but because he loves mint. He is crazy about mint. That is where he and I sort of become, excuse me, where he and I become, like superhero, supervillain. I kill mint. He loves mint. The very weird situation he and I have. Yep. Kyle says, yep. Okay, Kyle, come get this cocktail. I guess I talked too long earlier, so I now only have 14 minutes to make the next one. 14 minutes to make one cocktail? It seems impossible. Kyle says he is the hero in our superhero, supervillain matchup. I believe that anybody that would call themselves the hero would be the villain, but I don't know. Usually the hero doesn't dress in such weird clothes and usually shows their whole body. But maybe not. All right, let me just get one more sip because I know I'm never going to see this again. There you go, pal. Got it? All right, good luck. Give that a sip. I actually, if you give it a sip, and can you give us a rating on that cocktail? Here it comes. Remember, it is a glove, a galike, or a gahate. That's a glove. That is a glove. We love a glove cocktail. Yeah, it's hard to miss on the amazing cocktail known as the Old Cuban. That is a great cocktail. I'm glad that Kyle likes it. We're doing our stuff. Okay. We're back to it. San Francisco. You ever heard of it? San Francisco. It's the home of the Giants. Not big people. That's Norway, but it's home of the Giants, the baseball team. They used to have a bar out there before Prohibition called, and I believe tough to call it. I mean, I don't listen. Is it exactly a bar? I don't know. Called the Bank Exchange. And anyway, this cocktail was created from everything I can tell. I read the article like 3 times, and it was really it was tough. I don't do great on the reading. From what I could understand, basically this cocktail was created on the boat heading over to San Francisco. So this cocktail wasn't necessarily created in San Francisco, but it was created on its way over to San Francisco. And much like other cocktails that we make on this show, the recipe was completely lost to history at one point. It just disappeared. And sometimes that's horrible. Sometimes we really want to know what was happening at the time, what exactly were they making, what exactly was going on, why is this drink so popular back in the day but not so good anymore? We would love to hear that. Sometimes it's great, though, because sometimes that lets us have an open book to write our own history of what exactly went into this cocktail. Now, this next one is called the Pisco Punch. And I do not have any Chilean friends, not on purpose. It turns out I've never met a Chilean person that wanted to be my friend. I do have Peruvian friends. I have some amazing Peruvian friends. So I do want to say right now that the only true Pisco is from Peru. So we'll be using some Peruvian Pisco. Now, if a Chilean person wants to come hang out and wants to be my friend and convince me that Chilean Pisco is the only true Pisco, I will listen. But I have biases right now. This is Pisco right here. Pisco is an unaged grape brandy. It is, let's say, an acquired taste. Not everybody loves Pisco. Some people really like Pisco. We're going to be making a Pisco punch or a version of a Pisco punch Uh, this is a version of a pisco punch. I usually, when he does it, when he makes a cocktail or when he improves a cocktail, I always like to see what Simon Difford is up to. Simon Difford, of course, runs Difford's. He's got a great website. I go on there every once in a while to see sort of what's going on. And he has a version of a pisco punch that I thought sounded awesome. I think it sounded awesome. And it's because, oh, you know what? I don't even need these. Put these away. I was messing with this earlier. He starts off in kind of a cool, what's going on here? Will you just shut up? Thank you. He starts off in kind of a cool way, a way that I don't see often used in cocktails. He starts off with some of these. Now, what are these? It's tough to tell. You know why? Because that shot makes it difficult to see these cloves. These are cloves right here. These are just cloves. He suggests that we start this cocktail off with a couple cloves, and then we're going to muddle these cloves into the rest of this cocktail. Now, his recipe is it's going to be slightly different. It's going to be slightly different. Simon Difford, of course, an Englishman. He uses centiliters. So that's not the only reason it'll be different. It'll be different for a few reasons, but we're going to start over here. We're going to grab a little bit of this orange. Our oranges are not year-round yet. I've been asking Kyle when he thinks our oranges will be year-round. He does not know. So until then, I do have to buy these oranges. We're going to take this orange right here. We're going to slice it in half. We will save half of this for Kyle. So Kyle can go out and get his mint and put it into his orange. He really loves mint and orange. We're going to go ahead and squeeze in about, let's say, if you guys don't mind, let's say about half an ounce of some orange juice. Now, that is not a lot of orange juice, so we do want to throw it right into this right here. Oh, yeah, there we go. Now we're squeezing. Squeeze away, my friends. Squeeze away. Excellent. We'll throw this here. Kyle, putting that into the bus tub. We need half an ounce of some orange juice. There we go. We are also going to be putting in 1 ounce of some pineapple juice. Now, I have been on a tear with this pineapple juice. I started fresh squeezing the pineapple juice recently and have not stopped. I think at some point it'll become unsustainable. But if you can fresh squeeze your orange juice, I say do it. Go ahead and put in 1 ounce of some pineapple juice. We are also going to get just a little bit of some lemon juice in here. We're only looking for half an ounce. We only bought 1 lemon today, so that's lucky for us that we will come out of here with just enough lemon to make this all work. Go ahead and throw in, let's slice off this nublin right here. All I'm doing is taking off this little fatty part that doesn't help us at all and sometimes hurts us. Gives us a nice flat surface and some place for the air to escape as we squeeze this in. We need half an ounce of some lemon juice. There we go. Let's turn that. Okay. Fresh if you can, canned if you can't, says Kyle. That's exactly right. Sean Panabaker has not had Pisco yet. It's on the list, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Honestly, Shawnee, I think you as a person that seems to enjoy rum will find benefits of Pisco. Pisco is absolutely fantastic if you have grown up. Honestly, let me just be clear. Don't drink it by itself right off the front. I feel like that's the way with any liquor. You probably should you want to acclimatize into it. You want to put your hands into it first before you dip your whole body into it. Espen Moose says his first meeting with Pisco was a Pisco sour. He's loved Pisco ever since. Yeah, I highly recommend a Pisco sour. We are not doing the summer of sour. Otherwise, we would be deep into Pisco sours at this point. Instead, we're doing the Pisco punch because we're in the summer punch. Half an ounce of some lemon juice. There we go. And we are just going to be throwing in a touch of some simple syrup. That's just going to be about half an ounce of some simple syrup. Perfect. And then we are going to give this a bit of a crunch. When I say crunch, I'm going to take our muddler, and I just really want to crunch up some of those cloves. We just want the flavor of that clove to get into the rest of our cocktail. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen crunching cloves ever turn into a thing before in a cocktail. So I would recommend don't pulverize them, just kind of crack them. You can hear a little crack. Yeah, there we go. Don't pulverize them, just give them a little crack. Oh, yeah. 2 is plenty, turns out. This whole thing now smells like clove. Depending on who you are, that's a good thing or a bad thing. We're going to put our, oh, no, we have to pour our pisco. We're going to take our pisco. Like I said, pisco is controversial. South America, I believe Chile and Peru will eventually go to war over which one has the best pisco. Just because my friends are all Peruvian, I'm going with Peruvian pisco is the way to go. What's up? What up, Claudia? Peace, girl. I think that's the way to go, but other people will disagree with me, and that is fine. That is fine. I've tried Chilean pisco. I did not like it quite as much as I like Peruvian pisco, but different brands, different lands. I'll go ahead and put in 1.5 ounces of some pisco. And then we're going to give this a shake. I was pleasantly surprised to realize that I had kept that bottle of pisco for so long. We do not use pisco often on this show, but we should. It really is nice. It really, really is nice. We need another shaker. There we go. We'll take this guy. We'll give this a big old shake. Ready? 1, 2, 3. No spilling because this is tin. The tin really sort of gets cold together. And there we have it. Throw this right down here. Boy, I like having this bus tub right here. That really makes my whole life a little easier. Why don't we throw this into a zombie glass over fresh ice? One of the reasons we're doing this one over fresh ice is because we're going to have to double strain that clove out of there anyway. So let's just get all that crushed ice out of there. We're using this second time. This guy right here, of course, our double strainer. We're going to go ahead and pour this right through here, hopefully keeping the clove out of the drink. I'm going to tell you what, that smells freaking delicious. We are going to run out of space, though, for our stuff. So I guess this glass is not the right glass to use. We will instead use this guy. Pour this out. That's better. That's a better glass. Or just a touch more ice in here. Boy, we filled this glass right, this ice right to the top, right to where we needed it. Throw this here and bring out our huge bottle of Cook's again. Cook's, the world's okay as champagne. Just a little bit of some champagne right in through here. My goodness. Cook's is thirsty today. It is very, very farty today. We have lots of little Cook's farts. I'm gonna pour this, making sure we don't do the amateur mistake of over pouring anything. Right there to the top. I bought this big bottle. I could have just used one small bottle. I have a bit of a phobia of I think my wife sometimes calls it a lack phobia. Sometimes I just don't want to not have things. So we bought too much champagne. We'll have to drink it tonight. Go ahead and give that a stir. Now I am sure that Simon Difford has an amazing sort of garnish to go along with this. As it turns out, I do not. I do not have that. So instead, we are just going to skip that. Um, I didn't mention it, but this obviously does follow the proportions of or at least the formula for a punch. Some sour, some sweet, some strong, some weak, champagne in this case, and a little spice to make it all nice. Well, of course, that's where the clove comes in. That's what really makes this thing into a funky, funky punch. And that is what we're going for. Now, these are very special to me. These straws, these were handmade, not by Bon Bon, but they were made for Bon Bon, and she gave me some. This right here is This right here is our Pisco punch. A little bit of pineapple, some orange juice, some lemon, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of simple syrup, some clove, some Pisco, and some champagne all the way through to make this a single serving champagne punch. Cheers. What? This is awesome. I did not make this one before. I went off of Simon Difford's recipe and I just assumed it would be good. It is good. It is good. Let me just say, Simon, I'm gonna speak. You guys, maybe you guys don't all understand this. I'm gonna speak to him in his native tongue. Simon, hey mate, it's a good drink there, eh? Oh, nice voice, eh? Good way to go, hey. Carlton says Kush is a champagne bottle. Thank you. All right. That, my friends, that, as they say, is that. We have now made a number of great champagne single serve. One day during the summer of punch, we will make a large format cocktail. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know why, I don't know how, but we are going to find a way to do that. But these are three great single serve champagne cocktails that I think will win over anybody. Honestly, I would be shocked and dismayed if I walked out there and Kyle had not just plowed through those first two. I'm going to have to hold on to this one with for dear life. Bootopia asking, the clove is not overwhelming. In fact, Bootopia, the clove, sorry, just a little bit of the allergy. The clove in this thing is doing great things. It really is just sort of subtly finding a way to give us a little bit of spice. It isn't becoming an issue. No, it's not overwhelming. It's not like smoking one of those cloves cigarettes that, when you're 14 and somebody hands you one of those weird looking clovey cigarettes. It's not anything like that. It doesn't have any of that stuff going on. Instead, it's just a little bit. It kind of meets the Pisco at a really fun place. Adds a little bit of spice, and as the rhyme goes, it makes it all nice. So good for cloves. Boy, that is delicious. Let me say hello real quick to Jan Webb. Hello, Jan Webb. Jan Webb is my grandmother. Hello, Jan. She's my step grandmother, but that counts, I think. Cheers to you, Jan. Always a pleasure, as we say. Never a chore. Love you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, that, my friends, I think is that. That is that. I want to remind you, as I am off to do, that these classes will always remain free. But if you can help out the bar, there's a few ways you can do it. First of all, I have a Patreon. I do have a Patreon. It is helpful to have a Patreon. If you want your name on a bottle back here, or you want to, we're getting back into editing here in this next week. So if you want to see my shows edited early, Patreon is the way to go. That helps keep the bar lights on for all of you who are in the Big 30 and are fans of this show. That keeps the bar lights on. If you don't like Patreon, I totally understand. I also have a Venmo and a PayPal right down there. I also have, and this is kind of fun, if you want to sponsor us by sending booze, hey, I have a P.O. box. It's right down there, I'm pretty sure. If it's not, I will figure it out, and we'll put it down there. If you can't help out financially, these are tough times. I totally understand. These are rough, weird times. If you could, though, we all have friends. Just tell them about the show. Maybe send it to them. Maybe just take this little thing, push send, maybe post it on your own channels. I promise I will not be doing copyright strikes if you are sending this out or cutting these up and doing fun little whatever. Just to tell your friends about it. The more people we get in here, the better off we are. Obviously, a crowded bar is a very fun bar. And when you guys get VIP status for being in the Big 30, you guys will be all the lot much better. And if you can't do any of that, the best way to do it is, of course, show up. We do classes Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays here at Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Kick. I think we're on X. We're on all of them. We're all over the place, guys. So watch anywhere you want to. Say hi from anywhere that you are. And that is that. Let me just answer this question. Worth investing in crushed ice machine like GE Opal? Let me just on a completely different topic. Mixed Cocktail Hour, who I work for as well. We are working on a deal with an ice making company. So when that one comes out, I think that would be a great one to invest in. In the meanwhile, I think a great way to do crushed ice is to get a Lewis bag and just hit it with a mallet. That would be my suggestion until I'm just kidding. I will tell you guys the truth. Listen, it depends on how much money you have. You got extra money just sitting around? Yeah. Are there a billion things that you should do before you get a crushed ice machine? Yes, there are a billion things you should do before you get a crushed ice machine. Is having a small pebble ice going to change your drink so drastically that you need to go spend a bunch of money on it? I don't think so. Pebble ice melts as fast as crushed ice from a Lewis bag. So, no, I don't think so. I won't keep you guys much longer on that one, but I do have opinions on ice machines, and I love them, but it's sometimes just easier to crush them yourself. In the meanwhile, let me say, as we always do, that the sound machine, we've got to turn it on today, so we will have to do our own sounds today. But in the meanwhile, let me just say to all of you, what we always say at the end of these shows, which is, should we do a shot afterwards? It's late. We'll do a shot. We'll be back here on Tuesday. Maybe we'll do a quick shot on Tuesday. As always, what do we always say? We say bye-bye.
It's just the way we're talking. Tucson, Arizona.
Bye bye. Bye bye.